Hello, friends. Uh, nice to see you again, and nice to see Petra at the first time as a special guest in our weekly archery talk show.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very proud that you join us here today.
Thank you very
And
much.
Mm-hmm. Hello,
hello,
Petra.
Armin.
Hello, Peter. Oh my, Petra and Peter. Ich habe seine Name, also it's not easy. No? Really, welcome to the show. Really, I was
Thank you
excited
very
to
much.
have you because I know you since years from Facebook and from friends.
Yeah.
But we never had the chance to meet or to talk or something. That's why it's quite interesting to have you here in our show and to hear a bit from you.
Yeah, welcome for the invitation. And I'm very lucky to meet you both personally now.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to our new show.
Ooh. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a one-time thing. So I think you have enough experience in your field, what you're doing with horse aikido and stuff like this, that we even could do another session a little later down the road, because I think you have a lot of knowledge which people most probably would like to hear, I guess.
Yeah,
I agree.
that will be a
See,
good
now he agrees.
possibility.
On the simple things he agrees. Yes, he's like this. This is Peter. Okay, let's start. So where do you come from, Petra? Tell us a little about your history.
So I'm coming from close from Bonn and Cologne.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the area where I come from.
Mhm.
And in this area, we have a big old stories about the dragon hunter and the Huns and Attila the king. And so I'm growing up with all of this, wow, great stories about women warriors and something like that. Yeah. So this is where I come from. And this is actually where I started. Because when I was a child, I had the big chance to have horses and riding without saddle and playing in the forest. And yeah, so I had a good childhood and could make good experience with horses.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah,
So how old were you when you started riding on your horse?
4.
Oh, strong. Yeah, that's early. Oh, nice. Very good.
A wooden horse or a real horse?
No, it was a real horse. It was, I don't know in English. It's like when you have a circus,
Mhm.
Yeah.
circus, and children could ride for
Okay.
one
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
I start, and the
Yeah.
little horse had only one idea: running home. And I
Mhm.
was very small, and the little horse running with me in full gallop home. This was my first experience.
Was not traumatizing enough that you stopped, so you wanted to have more.
No. My mother told me it looks very good. It looked very good and safe. I was laughing. So,
Mhm.
but later I fall down.
Okay. Nice.
So you first started riding, and after later you started with archery.
Yeah. Later with 12, I start archery, and it
How you
was
got into?
my father was a hobby hunter. So I growing up a little bit in the forest, and of course there were archery and some guns, and yeah, and I had always this idea to shoot from a horse. And yeah, so I start with 12, but in the normal Olympic way.
Mhm.
I understand.
Nice.
So you joined a club around there, an
Yes.
archery club.
Yeah. It was in Siegburg. This is also a close city to Bonn.
Mhm.
And there was some club for young people, and there I start.
Mhm. Cool.
In what age? With what age you started?
With 12.
With 12. Okay,
Yes.
very early, very early.
Now she shoots since 2 years. She looks, or 6 years. She looks like 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, but you simply did archery and horse riding separately, and then one day you had this idea to combine both, or how did this come?
Yeah. So I read in my childhood. I read a lot of history books, and there were always pictures of shooting from horseback. So it's very easy to have the idea, oh, shooting from horseback would be a funny thing. Yeah, it's very easy. But, well, actually it needed many years that I could really do it.
Yeah. You have to have a good ability in riding and archery.
Yeah.
You have to learn both things perfectly, and then you can combine it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but seriously, it's not a big thing. If you are growing up, and when we are looking at these old tribes, and I saw it in Mongolia, the children growing up, they are always riding without saddle, and they have normally strength and body coordination. And if you are growing up in this world, it's not a big thing, really. It's not a big thing.
Yeah, I think so. But I think then coming from Olympic archery, riding on a horse, I think it's trying to combine these two. It's not so easy, I guess.
No. But the Olympic is the perfection in technique and the archer. So you can hit something very small in a big distance. This is horseback archery. Well, it's also possible to hit some small pieces in an armor. It's possible. But later I realized that the big distance are the more difficult to hit something than on small distance.
What is your, let's say, maximum distance when you shoot from horse? 20, 30, 40 meters?
No, 100 meter.
100 meters.
Okay. Yeah, because this is what the Huns could do in Europe. They had the opportunity and the technique to gallop in a pattern and shooting on an enemy line 100 meter.
Wow.
And when you are galloping, 100 meter is not so far. I was working with some martial art people, and also with Manusha Khorasani from Razmal Fasal. And I asked all these people, what do you think would be the closest distance for horseback archery and the biggest distance? And actually, Mr. Khorasani told me 20 meter is so close that a Persian fighter could throw a spear on the horse. So everything what's closer than 20 meter from horseback, it's not real. So after 20 meters, maybe you have a chance. Nobody will hit your horse.
Okay. That's interesting. Is this the one who wrote the book, this Persian archery and swordsman? I introduced it in the last video. This is a very interesting book. I think very interesting. He usually comes once a year to Malta for sword fight lessons. But I never managed to meet him, unfortunately.
You have to meet him. He is incredible. He's really incredible about knowledge and skills.
Yeah. And the other book I mentioned yesterday was from Scott Rodell, and I think you met Scott Rodell too, right? He is a quite famous sword fighter and Manchu.
Yes. Yeah, he was on my place, on my farm. And this is also something I realized in the last years, that somebody who has martial arts skills it's very easy to learn
Mhm.
riding.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
very easy. So
Mm.
Scott learned after some days riding, galloping, and
Mhm.
shooting
Wow.
his bow.
Mhm. So then there's still
So
hope for me, you think?
of course, of course.
Nice.
It's very similar. For example, if a person shoots with firearms, it's easy to teach them to shoot with the bow and arrow because they have some kind of idea of shooting.
Yeah,
So I agree with that. That if you have a kind of training in this martial arts area, you
Mm.
can easier learn
Yeah,
other stuff, I'm sure.
because you know
Yeah.
your body. I mean, I see it here when you have most Maltese have no idea of their own body. I had even kids, they went
Yeah.
2-3 years in a karate school, and I said, so now you take the bow in your left hand. And he was looking at me, what is my left hand? And then I was looking at this karate teacher, said, look, when a normal Maltese kid doesn't know what the left hand is, it's okay, but it's
Yeah.
3 years with you in a school, should know already what is my left and right hand. But of course, when you get then a martial artist and they tell him, look, stand in a horse stance or whatever, and they directly do it, and then
Yeah.
nice, it's so nice. Then it's easy, of course, easy peasy to teach them.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you have,
Because to say,
or you have Japanese. I had once one guest of mine. She was from Belgium. She came relatively regularly, and then one day she
Yeah.
brought her friend, a Japanese girl, and she is so whatever I told her in one thing, and she simply did it, and she hit the center all the time.
yeah.
They are so in their body. They have
Yeah.
this. They know how to with their body. It's amazing. There you see really a big gap
Yeah.
in when you see the Westerners here. No idea, middle finger corner of your mouth. Yes, yes, yes. And she was simply exactly the first time doing everything I told her. And I was like, wow. But yes, what you get.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's in Japanese culture also because of their ceremonies, you know, this tea ceremony, and so they're used to follow precisely precise instructions and so on to reproduce something. I think they in their culture it's more common than in ours
Mhm.
to exercise something to
Mm.
really make it perfect.
Mhm. Think
Yeah.
so too.
Yeah. And the horseback archery you see today comes from the Japanese
Mhm.
people.
Yabusame, you know.
Yes, but the Yabusame is a ritual
Mhm.
to realize the own state of mind or connection to a
Mhm.
meditation
Mhm.
level. This is the only reason why they are using the fence left and right, because it's a ritual
Mhm.
and they need the audience that they say when the horse archer is hitting the target, then the ancestors' energy hitting the target.
Mhm.
So this is why they need an audience, and this is why they build up the fence left and right.
Mhm.
And so the horseback archery today you mostly see in the internet comes exactly from the Japanese.
Mhm. And what is what is so specific about the Japanese way of horseback archery compared to, I don't know, Chinese or Mongolian or whatever?
The longbow, the longbow.
It's a longbow, but it's not a longbow.
The Yumi.
That there was okay, I think in the 80s there were two men. They brought the horseback archery to Europe and America. It was Koshai and I guess Lucas Novotny. And because there are no riders or not special riders, they copy the fence left and right. But in the Japanese way, it's a spiritual ritual. And these two men make a sport of it. But they're using the fence left and right because to go with the horse, it's very difficult. And then you cannot make a big sport or a big thing with it. when you have no fence left and right, because then you are only using the horse as a moving vehicle. Yeah.
I always thought they had a kind of trench they are riding in. No, Koshai
Yes.
and like
Yeah. They have a trench, and because they are cutting the horse out of the art. The horse is not in this kind of art.
And the
It's
Japanese and it's different. The Japanese they are connected also to the horse.
No, also not.
Okay.
But you have the extremely speed and the ritual aspect. It's not a sport aspect. And in Japanese, the target is maybe 2 meters only.
I know. Very
And when you, most people, they have no idea of riding. So when they're using racing horses, imagine racing horses, they very fast, and you need really a brave heart. Yeah. So, and you are so on speed, and the target is facing to the side, so your body cannot make contact to it. When the target is facing you, you can try to make contact on a bigger distance. But if you have only the moment,
the passing,
then it's done. It's only million of contact, then you have it. It's like the tip of the sword when you cut something. Yeah. So in that way, the Japanese horseback archery, the original one, is very difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I think so, because they have only these small wood plates there, and when you ride there in full gallop, how fast is a horse in full gallop? How fast is a?
I guess they have 40 km/h, also 40 or 50.
Okay, wow, it's quite a speed. You think it's not fast when you sit in a car, but when you're on a horse and you only see this small thing passing by and you need to hit it, I think it's quite challenging. Yes.
Yeah.
So Koshai and Novotny brought it to Europe or to the Western world, copied from the Chinese ceremony, and they made then a sport out of it, kind
Japanese.
of. From the Japanese, sorry.
I like to ask you, Petra, one thing, and I think we today have a very romantic idea of the connecting the rider to the horse, and so, and I think in all these Eastern cultures or in these warrior cultures, also the Native American Indians, I think the horse was more like a tool. They were not so romantic related, I think, like we are today. No?
One example. When I was in Mongolia, they were a marriage. I was invited to the marriage party, and they came young people from Ulaanbaatar. They drank, and then they go out. Oh yeah, now we ride horses. And one of these guy hit the horse on the head, and the grandpa was very angry. And I asked my Mongolian friend, and I asked the grandpa, what's the problem? And he said, you have to know, in the time of Genghis Khan, if you hit a woman or a horse, you have to die, because this is our culture. Interesting. So yes, they are maybe today not the connection to the horses, but when you have to stay alive. I was in Mongolia and I lived there for 6 weeks with a Mongolian family together. And they have an agreement to stay alive together. So the horses knows the human will protect them. And the children are growing up with the animal children. So they have a very deep feeling for animals, until today, it's like this. And they are using the language of moving a herd. Moving a herd it's also a riding and a horse training technique. And this is what the horse tribes using. They are using the language. Today it calls horsemanship, but it's only to see how the horse is moving the herd, who has which position. And when you are driving a horse herd, then you are speaking in the horse language. And I can see today at all old pictures of Mongolian warriors, how they can ride without reins and shooting 5 horse archers in the front direction. I know that they are using horsemanship to train the horses that they can ride without reins. And this is also what I do with my horses. And this is the reason why I don't need a fence left and right or a trench, because the horse is listened to me. It's like with a dog, with a shepherd dog. You are training together, and then there is a language. And these people know about this. They knew it and they use it for war.
I think again that the Asian culture is here a step ahead from the Western culture, in my opinion. That we have we always try to disassemble things and try to control everything in our way instead of keeping it together in harmony.
They control it too, but in their way.
In harmony.
Of course.
Yes.
But sorry, but when I'm looking to the I don't know it in English, the Spanische Hofreitschule in Vienna, it's from military, of course. These are military features and military exercises, and it's the same. If these horses wouldn't like to do this and wouldn't have a connection to their rider, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. So it's not necessarily true that the Asian cultures are more connected. We lost it because we are more civilized, and but I think a good hussar of Poland or somewhere had also a very good connection to his battle horse. I think so.
Of course.
Then not a tool. Then it's an extension of yourself and not a tool.
Yeah.
If you're riding in a battle, it has to be an extension, like your bow and your sword or what else. You can't have a naughty horse.
Yeah, but Hollywood create a very wrong picture in fantasy films about horses in war.
About everything.
Then you see, I was working a lot of times for films, and my horses are always calm, cool. They are waiting. They know their jobs. And the cameraman say, "Please make some action. It's too boring for the public." But in real, the horses were very disciplined, like the people. They like the rider.
And also in the Western world, I mean. Or think about the American Indians, the Comanches. They always say the Comanches were the best horseback archers and riders and so on. They were crazy riders, and they had I read a book about Comanches, a very good book, and they said they were really connected to their horses, and they were the first who cultivated this the battle horses of the Indians. They were the only tribe which perfected this style of fighting and riding.
I didn't say tool in the first place. That's why I'm interested, and now I hear you talking. It's fine.
Yes, but of course, if it is possible you ride into a battle, you can't love this horse like your best partner, because you know maybe this horse will die and tomorrow I have to get another one. It's also true, no?
Of course.
Yes, but most people didn't know that they selecting the horses of the characters. There is a man, his name is Xenophon, and Xenophon is the founder of the normal dressage riding. And he say the horse has to be your friend, not your slave, because you have to stay alive together. Yeah, and you are choosing horse characters. They are more like huskies. Not they are very cool, and I have this kind of horses. If you say, okay, today we going out, and the horses will say, why? It needs, why I have to do this? Yeah, you don't need you don't want to use an Arabian horse. What? Wow, like a Jack Russell Terrier. Ooh. You don't want this, yeah.
But they also select them in this Spanish, riding school in Vienna. Not everyone gets a Lipizzaner show horse, of course. Yeah. And also at the cavalry, of course they did.
Yeah.
Okay, good, fine. Now we have the connection. So now we know at least what Koshai and Novotny was. I always mix the names up, Novotny, because he builds nice bows.
When I was some years in the Koshai Valley, and when I go there, it was 2000, I trained the horses of Koshai.
Okay.
So I trained the horses and teach him something of this.
Is he still in business?
Excuse me?
Is he still in business in Hungary?
Of course. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Because I know back then in the 1990s or in the early 2000s, all the people from Germany drove with their, horse trailers to Hungary and so on. Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and through his self-celebrating style, he got, of course, a lot of interest all over the planet, and everybody thought, I need to go to Koshai Valley and learn horse riding there.
Yeah. And he had, once I had a bow. I don't know if I don't think he made these bows, but these were Koshai bows. I live close to the Hungarian border in Austria, and these are horrible bows. Very heavy sears and artificial leather on the limbs and really bad bows.
It's a fiberglass bow. What can you expect? Yeah, my first so-called horse bow was a Koshai bow. It was horrible.
Yeah, but seriously, he make a lot of story around it, that it becomes more public.
Yeah. And
but it's the horse has no part in
because
it.
Because he's the main, he's the main character in the game, I think.
Yes. And
I read his book, and I found out he really does this like in a religious way, a very hierarchical way, and like a religion, like a sect, it seemed.
Yes, it's a military sect, of course.
Yeah.
And in Hungary, everybody knows it.
Yeah, yes, I know. There was a guy from Norway. He traveled from Norway to Austria because he wanted to meet Byron Ferguson, who gave a show in Austria in 2010. It was, and then they drove on to Koshai, to Hungary, and they didn't have a date, a meeting agreed, so he sent them away.
Yes, of course. It's it's like this.
Military boot camp. Hey.
Well, Well, it's not about horseback archery. It's about the view of somebody's world.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you have to work for this world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you have
So
to
it's
achieve
like
this, and you have to achieve the same view when you're there, or you're out, or how is it?
Of course, yes, I was the personal nightmare for Koshai,
Oh
the
no,
little woman from
How
Berlin,
how could we even think
uh,
about that?
it's
artist.
impossible, impossible.
Yeah, I had no fear.
Mm.
Everybody was shouting at me. I was laughing. Yeah, so, oh, well, yeah.
You know, these Hungarians are very into their own tradition. They, because I live close to Hungary, I know a lot of Hungarian archers and bowers and so on. And all the archery, you can't sail a longbow in Hungary
Yeah,
because it's only Hungarian style, and they are very
yeah, yeah,
proud
yeah,
of their heritage. And so
yeah,
it's okay for me, but they are very connected to their own tradition.
yeah. And they are individuals.
Mhm.
Or, you know, the character of a nomadic, when you're growing up in this kind of world, you have strengths, you have self-confidence. And this was the most problem for all horse tribes, because everybody was chief.
Mhm. Yeah.
Everybody was a chief. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So the Hungarians are a little bit like this. They
Mhm.
have a big connection to their old ancestors.
Mhm. As long as it doesn't blow up their egos, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I didn't
Oh,
say anything.
And so another historic approach. So I don't know the answer. You do you think in the east and in the in the Mongolia and the Huns and the Avars and all the Turk folks uh, tribes, because it's this because of their landscape that there are more horse tribes, because we don't know any tradition here around in Germany or in, I don't know, in France or in or somewhere.
yeah.
Because back
It's,
then in the ancient times, because we were in the woods, so the horse was not a big deal.
I think the ocean make the Vikings and the steppe makes the horse people.
Mm.
The land has a big influence on life.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even in ancient times, our Europe was more densely populated, so there are not so long ranges to go and
Yeah.
so on.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not
And
even only, but even not only horseback. Even when you see all these bows, you have the Tatar bow, you have the Avar bow, you have every tribe
Mm-hmm.
has this bow design, whatever. But look, in
Yeah.
Germany, the Germanic folks, they had maybe still a bat or maybe a spear, but there is not let's say a Germanic bow or or a French bow. They
No.
used in the longbows most probably or whatever from England, but there is not. It
Mm.
stops directly. So you go to Austria and stops. There is nothing here. Germany, Austria,
I
like you had our own bow design or something, and then you go to Hungary, the Han bow, and then it goes all over the Asian
Yeah.
continent.
I think it has to it is connected to the way of life, because they were
Mm-hmm.
nomadic folks, and here around very early they were chiefs and they had their village, and the chief was the boss, and they stayed stationary, and so they had to roam around with horses. And so, and then they developed the cavalry, of course they had, but not it was not so in their blood like in the eastern folks blood, I think.
Yeah, but a
Mm.
weapon is a weapon, and when you can throw a smaller spear further away than you would throw normally a spear or with an atl, I mean, it was developed almost everywhere at the same time, but simply not in Central Europe. They still had their bat and boom. Don't know.
Because all the landscape was wood. You know, all the non-wood areas nowadays
Okay.
in Europe were cut
So in the forest,
make-
it makes no sense to have bow and arrow.
to have fields.
So we are better trappers, so we can build traps and then.
No. I think the horses are not so necessary in the woods, and you can shoot the long range in the woods.
Yeah,
You
I was
can
talking.
shoot
Oh, what's that?
a little bear.
This is my new family member,
Oh,
and she don't want to wait outside.
of
Come
course.
here.
Very cute.
Oh.
Oi.
Hi, hello.
Oh.
What's her name?
Her name is Ho.
Oh,
Ho,
Very-
and she
very
is
simple.
a Tibetan. She's a Tibetan Mastiff.
okay. Oh.
Oh, and she thinks she did something wrong. So
Mhm.
baby,
No.
so you can stay here and listen to us.
Okay. You can
And
sing a song.
learn.
Nice.
Okay.
I was just referring to the bows as a weapon, that in the Germanic folks there is no or not a lot of proof that they had their own bows or that they built their own bows. Maybe they used bows they picked up on a battlefield or something and
Yeah.
tried to use them, but there is no history of bow builders in the Germanic tribes.
You don't know if they made just self bows, stick bows. You won't find one because it's rotten.
But
If it's not in a swamp or somewhere.
Hmm.
But even there are a lot of
Mhm.
depictions and paintings and whatever, but nowhere you see a bow. That's why it's, yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
When the bow was the
Okay.
most sophisticated weapon for the longest time in human history, until the rifles came or the black powder was developed. I mean,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
there's nothing. I was even checking here in Malta if there's a specific something, but even here in the War Museum, you don't find anything about bow and arrow.
I think the last army in Europe using a bow in war were the Polish, if I remember well.
Mhm.
In the 1700s, somewhere.
Yeah, in World War I, we had Captain, what was his name? He was always
I
running.
don't know. Yeah,
He
an English guy, yes,
exactly,
using a
he
longbow.
had even a few really kills with his bow then. Yeah.
And
He was storming in the Normandy with his bow. He in the first World War.
Even in the Vietnam War, they had the Americans, the Marines had bows and arrows for some commando
Of
coups and
course,
so
we
on.
sent Rambo there, and he had this nice combat.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, yes, we know that. I mean, we are good in history, Peter.
No, it's real. It's true.
Yes, of course. But only with the explosive arrow tips. You know. Otherwise, it's boring.
Oh.
But he did a lot
I-
for archery.
I thought a lot about it, but I always thought if you sneak into a camp and you shot the guard,
Mhm.
but if you shot the guy with an arrow, he will scream.
Of
So
course,
you have to use a knife or a garrote or something like that. So I don't
killing
know.
someone
for
without
what-
making noise is one of the hardest things to
Yeah.
do, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's why hoping that an arrow will kill. And this is always interesting thing. Again, movies, when you see you shoot another one, and he instantly dies of one bullet or one arrow,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the main actor, he gets shot 5 times and pulls the arrows out and continues fighting. So it's always slightly.
Yeah, you watched Vikings.
No, I don't watch Vikings. No.
I for a long time I didn't watch Vikings, but then I did, and it is a good serial. I think
Mhm.
so. It's a good
Okay.
serial.
Good.
As long as the main character is alive, the Ragnar is alive.
Ragnar,
I
not
don't know. I never watched
Yeah.
one of these episodes, so I can't tell.
Now, you know what is interesting? It's a lot connected to the real old sagas, because this Ragnar Lodbrok is a kind of legendary hero, and the children of Ragnar are historic features. They lived, and a lot of incidents shown in this serial happened. They went to Paris, shipped, sailed to Paris, and so very interesting. Good thing.
Okay. Yeah, but I still have a life. I don't have time for watching series.
So you say I don't have a life. I have to watch.
No, I didn't.
TV
I didn't say
series.
that. I didn't say that. It's what I always said when I had a few of these my assistants here, younger ones, 19, 20, and they always told me, "Oh, listen, there's this new game. Did you play this new game?" I said, "I have no idea of what you're talking. I have a real life. I don't need a game for it, you know."
No, okay.
But when I worked on the next book, I came to an idea where the bow and arrow has an advantage to a firearm, and it is at night when someone shoots at you with a firearm and it's dark. You see the fire blast from the rifle or from the pistol, and if you shoot back with the bow, they can see where you are because you have no fire. You know.
I only make sure that you don't have your luminox on, you know, Peter.
Yes, then they see you.
Person of
Then they
luminox,
detect you. Yes.
because then they see you again.
Yeah.
But back to Petra, we were drifting. See, this is what happens then when we start talking.
No problem.
So then you started one day shooting on horseback, bow and arrow, and you figured it's not so easy. So then how old were you when you went to Koshai, let's say? Or was it there when you learned then horseback archery, or did you know it before?
I start working as a horse trainer on a horse farm, and then I start shooting from horseback. But I had only some pictures of my history books, and so I went to Mongolia.
Okay.
To find maybe some information, and then I lived with the family together, and they had bows, but they told me, oh, it's totally lost, nobody is doing this. They had the communists and then capitalists and nobody knows. Yeah. So I went back and as a worker for this horse farm. And then I found in the internet a man, his name was Christian Schrade. Later, he was also the man who organized the Steppenreiter in Germany. And at this time, he was a student of Koshai, and I went to him, and for some reason, it looks that I'm very skilled. I don't know. So immediately he picked me up and brought me to Koshai. And
maybe because you're beautiful.
Maybe.
I don't know the requirements of Koshai.
But really, Christian Schrade showed me a video. And I saw Koshai shooting 9 arrows very fast. And I was surprised. Oh, wow. It's funny. Yeah. So go there and learn this trick shooting.
How old were you when you went there?
I 32.
Okay.
So 2 years ago.
Last week.
Last week. Yeah. And, you know, if somebody's there, I was also, somebody say, oh, you can be the best of the world. And, you know, I'm a human. I have my ego, and this was the thing who catches me. You can be the best, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so my ego say, yes, I want to be the best. Yeah, so I stayed there. But from the first time, because I was a horse trainer, I asked this question: why you are not riding? Why you have this trench? Nobody used this in the ancient time. But well, today I have my own system, my own school, without a fence left and right. And you need to really ride, and you have to need a good horse. And so my school is very small.
But,
you know,
but it makes sense, practically speaking. It makes sense to not ride in a trench. And I mean, when the horse only can go in one direction, you can only focus on this target and shoot as many arrows as possible. Then really you take the horse or the thing which moves you out of the equation. So you don't need to, then you can sit on whatever, on a roller coaster and go forward and shoot. That's not.
And Armin, sadly, it's like this, that the horse people are laughing about the horseback archers. They say, okay, only Petra has the independent seat. She has a collected horse and. But the other thing, it's for riding knowledge horrible, because you destroy your horse with this. Yeah, this is very, very sad, because horseback archery could be really a wonderful thing to connect horse, human, and nature, and archery to back to mind, to a very beautiful art. But it's work.
Of course, that's why you do it.
It's work. Yeah.
If it would be easy, everybody would do it. That's why you have to do it.
Yeah.
And how it
Thank
works, how it works practically. So you have students, and you have a stable, and they put the horse in your stable, and they show up once a week to train with you, or how you do it?
I have my own farm, my own horses, students, and I prepare my horses for the students. I have some students, they have own horses and own horse farms. So they are training at home. And most normally, but not in this time, people coming one weekend in month to my place for training. Yeah.
And what kind of archery gear they mostly use? What kind of archery tackle?
I have people, they're using thumb ring. I have people, they're using the normal Mediterranean style. And because my focus is to connect the bow, the rider, and the horse. So then it's anyway what kind of bow technique you are using, because my focus is connecting both.
I understand, but I wanted to know what kind of bows they use. Only horse bows, or are there also long bow shooters? Or
I sometimes they use a long bow, but the character of the bow is not really good to use from horseback, because, and I guess Armin will understand, when you have this long draw, it keeps you on horseback. If you're only pulling here, your body center is not connected to your independent seat. But when you are using this Asian technique, then with the full draw, you have a stable seat, and you don't need stirrups, but you need an independent seat for that.
Once there's a very old video of Howard Hill riding on horseback. He had a very nice, a Hollywood trick horse, which could do a lot of tricks, and he was very elegant with the long bow and his style, but it was it was a show horse, So, and I did it too with the long bow, but yes, maybe you're right. You're not, but if you practice it enough, you can do it, of course, I'm sure.
Yeah, sicher. Yeah. And even when you, the stirrups, the Huns, they had no stirrups. The stirrups came with the Avar people 600. And so, and the old pictures also from the Persian people, you always see that they have a long leg. They have, and then the feet are only lying in a straight position in the stirrup. So if you make the stirrups very short, then you have no connection to the horse anymore, and it's like a leather.
Yes, this Howard Hill clip, he rode Western style, with long stirrups and like a working cowboy.
Yeah.
So you can do it more easy. Within pure English riding style, I think you can't do it. With a genuine English dressage style, I don't think it's very practical to do archery, no?
It's doable. I know that you had a student from Germany. I met her once in Regensburg. She told me the new name. That's why I know from you. And she was the only one riding with this lady saddle where she has both legs on one side. Remember her? I forgot her name now already, but don't tell her. It's quite a while ago when I was in Regensburg.
Armin forgets the name of his
And then she said, "Oh,
girlfriends.
you do this archery? You know, I did archery too, and you know, and I went there to this Pettra Engeländer, and I'm the only one sitting like this in the horse saddle, and I'm doing horseback archery." It's a while ago, huh? Yeah, but the world is
yes. At this time I was organizing a championship, and she rode in the lady saddle.
And she was the only one. That's why she won. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was so beautiful in her skirt and long. Oh, it's wonderful.
Now you know, Peter, why I still remember.
I always wondered. I can imagine with this woman's saddle how they ride it. So they galloping and everything, and then it's very funny to me.
Matter of practice. Everything. You practice long enough, then you can do it. It's no problem.
Yeah, like our Empress Sisi. She used to ride a lot. Yes, with the how is it called in English? Woman's saddle, or?
I don't. I only know the name woman's saddle.
Yeah, I would
but
say
actually, it's the horse stance. The horse stance comes from the independent seat. So if you can stand on one leg in horse stance, then you can ride in a lady saddle. It's the same center you need.
Yeah, of course.
So with this lady saddle, they took all the fun from the ladies riding on the
This is patriarchat, you know.
Yes,
the male rule, of course, you take the fun out
you
of
don't can use our saddle, you have to use a lady's saddle. You're naughty girl.
I could bring an old nun joke, but I better don't. Otherwise I need to edit it out. When they went for the bicycle ride, and then the old nun said, "So now stop giggling, otherwise we put the saddles on the bikes again." Okay, it took now 2 seconds. I told you, maybe I edited it out, but most probably not. Yeah, nice. So, and you started then, you had then this idea, or you were in Koshai Valley, and then you thought about like, I want to do my own thing, or how was it? How did this come?
I was very successful in this kind of trick shooting, because I could sit in my center, and then my upper body is not so moving so much. And I had some arguments with him. And yes, when I realized that it has a lot of political background, I had to go, because I'm looking for art, and the art of the old ancient people, and I don't want to be involved in politics and strange things. So there was a big war. I win a competition. Yeah. And well, so I went from this system and create and develop my own, but it's not really my own, because I'm only doing what the ancient horse tribes did. It's not my idea, and it's not my fantasy. Yeah, I like to develop this art, and I have a lot of shows in the Mongolian festival in Berlin. I did for many years, and I get a very friendly, warm Anerkennung. Was heißt Anerkennung nochmal? Yeah, from the Mongolian people. They had no problems with me as a German, They say, you holding our tradition alive, and we
Nice.
have to say thank you to you.
Mhm.
And this is what gives me my power to go ahead with it.
So
To
they didn't
keep
say it's like a cultural robbery or like they call it today.
Mm.
no.
Kulturelle Aneignung.
I think they're simply happy if somebody still practices it,
Yeah.
because they see what is going on,
yeah,
as said, in these valleys and whatever they do with the horse. And of course, it hurts when you have this connection. It hurts yourself, your soul, when you see what they are doing with the horses. So that's why,
Yeah.
of course, they're happy no matter which. And the Mongolians most probably are quite open-minded to this. So no matter
Yeah.
which nationality you are, but when you keep this alive, then of course they will tell you, listen, good thing.
Yeah. 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 And with this Mongolian people, they had a lot of strong women in their history,
Mhm.
and for them, it's not unnormal.
It's not
Because if
not
you
a
want to
threat,
stay
yeah, yeah.
alive, if you want to stay alive, you need to work together.
Of course.
So as a young girl or young boy, you learn to protect the herd, you learn to hold water, make fire, or simply love the animal children.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
so this is also important for me, that I transport this idea of the old ancient
Mhm.
nomadic tribes.
Thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
I have a question because
Please.
I think it's true here around in Europe. I'm sure there are more women riding than there are riding men.
Yes,
No?
and yeah, I know this, and I know also the reason for that.
Mhm. Tell us.
That's my question.
Well, I teaching riding over 20 years now, and what the modern world is doing with the horse is exactly what the women experience in the last 2000 years.
Mhm.
So they getting in resonance. And it's like this: a horse gives a human being a feeling of energy and
Yeah,
joy.
but also to men. No.
No, it's anyway a man, it's
Yeah.
and a woman. But
So
if
what women experience the last 2000 years?
be like in a jail, you
Like
have
what?
like in you cannot live your own life.
No.
Suppression, that the male patriarchat, the male
Yeah.
says this is how we do it, and you stay at home, you cook, and you're, you know.
No, it's in every culture. No, it's not just here. If it's true, because also in the Eastern cultures, I don't know. But if you think about it, as far as I know, men kill each other for a woman. So men love women.
Yes, of course, yeah. I don't
Why should they suppress them?
no. The horse connected the people to an ancient power. If you are a human without a horse, you are a human.
Yeah.
But when you are a rider, you feel more than only a human.
I understand this, but
Yeah.
what's the key to more women are riding than men are?
Because the horse gives the woman back this power, what is normally locked in the medieval time, in a Christian time, this is what I
I don't I always have to disagree, but I don't agree that women were suppressed, because every clever man knows the value and the beautiness and the loveliness of a woman. So I don't know.
Mm. Why did women have then to fight so hard over the last centuries that they get equality status?
Yeah.
It's a
At
communist
least in
thing.
jobs or something, even when
It's
a woman does the same job
it's
as a man,
it's a
gets
Marxist thing.
less wage. Why
It's
is
a
that then?
Marxist thing,
Marxist thing in Germany,
of course.
as example. Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. But you like Vikings. In the film of Vikings, they have a very realistic picture of the ancient world of the Vikings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were the women suppressed there? No.
No. And
You
they
see?
could write. Yes, but it
Yeah.
was, they are no Christians.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Catholics
So
and so on. Yeah.
before this is why I say 2000 years.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the picture of the Amazons, it's a normal thing for horse tribes. You need to stay alive.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what the Greek people saw were Scythian or Persian women, young women. Yeah, and they don't need to cut a breast to archery.
No.
That's
No. No.
nonsense.
No. No. But
Yeah.
I don't agree because we talked about the Vikings too. I wouldn't agree that there are female warriors like shown in this serial because a man is stronger than a woman. So if a man hits the sword of a woman, that the sword will jump out of her hand because men are stronger. That's for usually. Of course, the weakest man is not stronger than a strong woman, but
So, but
usually.
excuse me, Peter, but you are looking for modern women.
Where's
how
my
they
popcorn?
look.
Where's my popcorn? No, it's getting interesting.
You like that?
Of course.
So I was in Iceland, and believe me, they are also in Mongolia. The women are very tall.
Yeah.
And strong.
Yeah, but it's science that the muscle tissue is different and everything. So nowadays we have problems in sports in the United States. These trans persons, which are men, are competing against women in boxing and lift weighing. But of course they win because they are men. They are stronger by nature. Of course, they are very strong women, no question about that.
But do we know that 5,000 years ago it was the same? I don't think so. I mean, even when you see in Stone Age, men and women alike went out hunting, and the weak ones or the sick ones or the pregnant.
Who knows that?
Let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
And the
sorry.
pregnant ones had to stay then closer to the camp because they couldn't go hunting, or when they had their monthly issue, then they said, okay, you're not full in your energy, you stay closer to the camp, and we take the others out for hunting.
How do you know this?
The strongest, and doesn't have to be a man.
How do you know this? That this was like that? You're telling us.
Assumption.
It was you don't know if women ever hunted in the Stone Ages. You don't know. I don't know. You don't know.
Who made all these Facebook posts on the stone walls in ancient times? So who? The guy. And who writes the history books? Always the winner. So
no. So it's not true that the women were only suppressed with the Christians, because if they were also suppressed in the Stone Ages, there were no Christians. So
no, you never know. How do you know?
I don't tell anything. I don't say anything how it was.
I simply think it's logical that you simply take the strongest. Now, when you have to go hunting for your tribe, then you take the strongest people you have, no matter which gender. My opinion.
And which are the strongest people by nature?
Take them. Why should you take then this weak guy? Whatever, you should take the strongest ones.
Of course, but the guys usually are stronger than the women, and there are a lot of other business to do in the camp, or collecting something, I don't know, gathering.
Yeah. Hunting and farming. So farming more for the women and hunting for the men.
And you see it even in the North American indigenous tribes. The women were not hunting. And they lived
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
some thousand years ago, back then in the 1800s, no?
I don't know if they didn't.
I know.
You were there 1,000 years ago?
No, but they even lived like that in the 1800s, so they know how their culture was about.
Yeah, but
who hunted and who
things
went to
change.
war,
You know,
and so
things change. Things change and they adapt. You never know. I like to think that we had strong women and strong warriors too, and even in history a few of these strong badass women known fighting battles and whatever.
I think the Amazons are one in history. They don't know if they were real or not, or if they're just a legend, but the Amazons were female warriors, okay, in the legend, or maybe they existed. And the other thing is, and going back to Vikings, this Brunhild was a warrior in the Nibelungen saga. You know, the man who wanted to marry her had to beat her with stone throwing and fencing and so on. So I think she's the kind of fighting maid, and there comes this idea, I think, from this.
Okay. No, well, we will see.
I think so. And that in that Vikings, that shield maidens, that fighting women, they were kind of from this Brunhild image, I think, because Brunhild was stronger than Gunther. So Siegfried had to use this Tarnkappe, this how is it called, stealth cap, and after the marriage, they had to take her. Two men had to take her down.
Okay. Yeah. As said, we were all not there in this time. We only can assume or think
just
or
a saga.
conclude things. Yeah.
Just a saga.
So then you started your own school. So yeah, I need to always come back to you, Petra. Of course, the topic always goes left and right. So then you started your own horse riding school with your own state, in your own place. And then you have your own students. You shoot mostly horse bows.
Yeah.
And I even know that you had once this Emorin horse bow, I think was it the name?
Yeah, with Andre Brennecke together.
You shoot it still, or you changed, or what is your favorite?
No, I
bow?
changed. I always changed a little bit. So now I'm using a Han bow from Elite Bogen.
It's a back.
Yeah, and this is also, it works very, very well.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. But I always change sometimes to see what's possible for the big distance. And yeah.
How many pounds do you use, or are they used for usually about approximately?
I have 3 power bows, 30, 36, and 40.
Okay. Yeah, great.
Yeah. But seriously, a very, very heavy bow, it's easier to use with stirrups. Then you have some grounding in your lower body. So 40 pounds, 60 pounds or more. Then stirrups are very helpful.
And for arrows, carbon arrows or bamboo arrows or aluminum, what are you using?
I use modern stuff, so I have carbon arrows.
The Han would have used them too if they would have them.
Maybe.
This is what I just said today at the archery range, or yesterday when we shot this bow from Lukasz Nowotny. This is a Polish bow builder, and he makes this monolith Tatar bow, which is a dream.
Okay.
And
cool.
And it has fake horn belly, so it looks like horn, but it's not. It's all modern materials. And then I always say, look, if they had this material back in time, they would never build a composite bow with a real horn and with wood and weight. And yes, they waited 6 months for drying, Peter, not only 3 months, because it was necessary. So
because of the weather.
They know what they are doing. Experience is their teacher, and they waited sometimes even almost a year to let it dry, to make sure.
At least it is written in a book like that. I know.
Yeah, of course. No, it's experience of even modern horn bow builders can tell you that there are still a few. They build horn bows.
Of course they tell you. Of course they tell you this. the German bow makers tell you you have to wait 2 years for a bow because they had to get the nice spirit and the right moon.
Now it's simply it's the production time you need to leave them for a while. It's simply like this. And it's not that they get more money because the bow hangs around for half a year. So if you could sell it earlier, it would be better for him. So if he could reduce the time to 2 months, he would say, listen,
another.
Huh? Yeah, they build mostly.
He don't wait he don't wait for 6 months. So he makes one bow after another. So every day one is finished.
They build custom bows, and you can't pre-produce a custom bow. And then it takes.
If you have enough orders, you can,
No, you're good. I'm not a bow builder. I only can tell you what they tell me.
Let's say you have 100 orders. So today you glue this one, you let it dry, as you say, 6 months. Next day you glue the next one, and so you have every day you have.
Of course,
you can work on the bows.
Of course, but it still takes 6 months to let him dry. Doesn't matter if you build another 590 bows in the meantime.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Of course.
It's like this. Okay, so you shoot now a good Han bow, either from Weg or from Chakal, because these are the two from. When did you buy?
I don't know.
When did you buy it?
From Elitebogen.
When? What time? A year ago? Or something?
1.5 years ago.
Then it's most probably a Weg Han bow. It's a very nice bow. Now Elitebogen doesn't sell this bows anymore.
Okay.
He sells not Chakal. This is a different brand, different bow builder.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm very happy with this bow.
I'm responsible for that. That he does. That's why I know it. Because it's like this.
Okay.
What type of quiver do you use?
Quiver. I have my own quiver.
You have it in a close? Can you show
I
it?
also have my.
Oh no, not here. It's in the yard.
What kind of quiver? Side, back?
A Gucci, a Louis Vuitton.
It's a quiver I can use when I'm riding. So it's on my back side, so I can have arrows in front of my bow handle, or I can pull out of my quiver. So sometimes I'm changing.
Okay.
So because I don't want to have the trick shooting mislead to fast knocking, and then I don't pull correct anymore. So the fast shooting is like this, but for my targets, I need a very precise technique because the targets are so small. So then I only use 3 arrows in front of my hand, or I pull from the quiver.
And you shoot still 3 fingers, or 3-finger draw.
Yeah.
So this is what Koshai is doing: 3 arrows in the hand, and then pull it out, fiddle it through the bow, knock it, and then you draw.
Yes, and I asked a German a professor for Hunologie, also for the Han history, and he told me that the Huns using the 3-finger techniques because the handle of the bows they found in Hungary are flat, and when you are shooting with the thumb ring, the handle is round because you open the hand a little bit. This was his argument.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't.
If he would be an archer too, I would maybe say, okay, he has a point. But if he's only Hanologian, he takes his conclusions. I don't know.
Just by the handle of the bow to tell how they shot, it's
You
not.
can almost shoot
It's,
every
yeah.
bow. I can almost shoot every
Yeah.
bow 3-finger or thumb release. So this is not.
Yeah,
that
I
big of
would
a
say so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is it true? I heard the story that even Koshai was shooting thumb release, and then a dog bit off a piece of his thumb, and then he switched to 3-finger. This story
No.
goes around.
He in his childhood he lose the thumb.
Okay.
Yeah, but he yes, I think he would use the thumb ring if he had a thumb.
Oh, so gorgeous, you two.
Yeah.
If you only had a thumb, he would use it.
Yeah, I wish you. See?
Oh, shit happens.
Yeah.
Petra, another question. And this quiver you use, it isn't dangerous if you fall. I know you don't fall from your horse, but you know, quivers are always kind of dangerous if you have the arrows on you. No problem.
No problem.
Okay, because you don't fall. You don't fall from the horse.
If I fell from the horse, the arrows are broken. It's expensive, but no problem.
I once had if I allowed to tell, I mean, once I had a nice experience. I used to ride a lot back then, and then I stopped riding for about 15 years. I was on any horse. And when I wrote my book, I like to have a cool picture of me on horseback with back quiver and long bow, like Howard Hill riding. Okay.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine has nice quarter horses, really calm, nice horses. And I rode some circles, and you know, this was an iron, how can you call it, square?
Yeah.
You know, yep. And everything was okay. And I said, okay, give me the quiver. I put on the back quiver, and I rode just with the quiver slowly. And then I said, okay, now give me the bow. And then I made some circles, and I galloped a little, and the arrows started rattling in the quiver.
Yeah.
The horse went crazy.
Yeah.
The horse went crazy. It you know, it jumped and so on, and I fell down. And my friend had the function to make the picture. And he stood and looked at me, and I fell down. Then, oh God, no, we use another horse. This one is too crazy. We use another horse. Then, okay, I get on the horseback again, and we go to meadow. And the horse, I thought I gallop uphill and a turn, and I gallop down. And when I'm galloping down, he should take some nice pictures. And the horse also went crazy, had this rattling.
Yeah, didn't you have your quiver you showed? Yeah, didn't you use this quiver you showed me last time, that when you tighten it, that the arrows are squished, that they don't rattle?
Yeah, but it wasn't that tight, and you know, riding is a different thing than walking and so on. Riding, okay, and so I know that won't happen. That won't end good. I threw away the bow, and I fell from the horse. And the friend with the camera said, "Oh, picture, everything okay?" I didn't take any picture because I had to look at you because you felt okay. Okay, three times.
Oh wait, okay.
And then I got the very gay picture: the horse standing, not in gallop, but standing.
Yeah, but at least, you know.
I got one. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm a horse trainer, so you need some time to teach a horse all noises and
also the shooting nice. I had the experience. It's like a whip, you know. When you use the long whip, and it's the same sound an arrow makes, about the same sound, and so the horse was crazy when you shoot.
Yeah. But the problem is the modern horse world makes the problems with the horses. Because when you're growing up with a horse, then nothing is a problem for the horse. But because of our modern world, everything is a problem for the horse because we are not living together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
So
can't fix that. You know, we are in this culture. You can't fix that.
there are, if you have the awareness that this is necessary for the horse to know you and to trust you and live together, then many things are changing. Because we have to understand that in the view of the world, in the ancient time, the animals were not only animals. No.
I don't know.
You know, they have the same awareness like humans.
How do you
This
know?
is a norm.
How do you know this?
Because you feel this when you are living together with animals. It's natural that there is a communication and a feeling. They feel pain, they show love, yeah, they show trust. And yeah, so the people of the old world, they had a different view of the world. And that changed the most. And it changing the archery and the riding. When you are having this view of the world, then the arrow is not only a good technique, and the horse is not only a good slave. And this is what horseback archery really is doing. It immediately brings you back into a old time, and then you get in touch in your own abilities and the really wonderful human skills.
But not a lot of people can live this way like you do with your horse ranch and you know, living that style. If you're working in a city and you can show up once a week for riding maybe, or once a month, you can't have it, no?
Yes, but you can be aware of what is good for you and what not. To live in a modern world, it's also like living in a jungle with animals. You have to stay alive, and the human body is the function, and the psychic is like it's old. You can run, you can do that, you are dead, or you can fight. And this is exactly what is going on in our body when we are in situations. And our body is old, like thousands of years. Yeah. And this is what archery, only archery brings us back to all of this understanding and feeling. This is why it's so precious in our world, the bow and arrow. Yeah.
Part of a connection to our ancestors, which is an important thing to have. There are, of course, other techniques to achieve this, but this is one easy way to get this, not to nature, Peter, simply to this. In our genes, we have this information of our ancestors, and with this you can, let's say, unlock or whatever this information, or you get in touch with this information.
I just wanted to say, like we talked in the past, it's not only archery. A lot of martial arts connect you like that, or as we talked about, also shotgun shooting. If you do it like a martial art, it's the same thing. Or pistol shooting.
It's your mental state, of course, and your awareness. When you're
boxing is the same.
When you know your body and you're aware, and then you get further and easy. So, and why we are there? So now we know where you come from. You know where you are right now. So what is your future? What are your future goals, or where do you head with what you're doing? Because we already 1.5 hours, so I think we should come
Oh,
to an end for this one, but we will
yeah.
invite you for
So-
sure another time. It's very funny and interesting to talk to you, so you will be
Yeah, yeah,
to it
nice
if you want
guest,
to.
nice guest.
Yeah. So, but
So
sure.
I wish to bring it back alive, this old art of the Hans to shoot 100 meter from galloping horse.
Mhm.
And so this is also the area of my farm. I have a very big field, flat, where I have the wind, sun, and other things. How you manage to shoot in big distance from horseback.
Mhm.
So this is my personal
Mhm.
vision.
Okay. Only
Yeah.
quick question: how big is the target on 100 meters? Is it then human size, or is it still a small target? Or which
There
target?
are four. There are four.
Don't kill the dog.
No,
You're not
there are four
surprised.
targets. They are 120 meter size,
Okay,
and
120.
they
1
are.
meter
It's like
20 a square.
it's like an enemy line.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I try to gallop in front of this and turn and shoot backwards.
Nice. I really want to try this. Yeah. Because when you see
Yeah,
the modern
come.
horseback archers, even really good ones, which I admire, like Koshai, you know, he has this quiver where he has the arrows here and he shoots, I don't know, 10 arrows in 9 seconds or something. And he says his distance is 20, 30, maybe 40 meters. But on 40 meters, he shoots already a target 70 by 70, and it's still for him good enough to hit at 40 meters. So that's why it's interesting from horseback 100 meters. This is what I would like to experience. So
I like to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to know that all these trick archers are bad riders, because the trick archery destroy the seat for the horse. And Cosme is really an excellent archer and trick archer, but a horrible rider. It's horrible.
Like almost, or I guess all of them, they ride their horses in the trench or in this.
Only if you do this, it's impossible to ride, because the coordination is moving your hip, and then you cannot ride anymore. So this is the reason why they all need short stirrups, and they standing on moving.
Yeah, so they can have the motion until the knees, because then you can move.
Yeah,
because the knees are locked on the horse, but the rest of the upper body is moved. Okay,
makes sense. Armin, you know, and Armin, you know, if you make a movement 100 times, 1,000 times, it's in your unconsciousness, and it's
muscle memory,
and it makes stiff. Look at all of these trick archers; they are stiff. They're stiff. It's like sometimes we call Koshai school the clone army. Yeah, but it's like cloning, and repeating. Yeah, okay, but the horse is a living being. And when you see all of these pictures from 12th century, I was very surprised. They could ride. They have an independent seat. The reins are always long. The mouth of the horse are closed. And these are the signs of good riding.
Okay.
Vienna riding school is exactly like this.
So can I ask you for next time that you show us and what the independent seat means? I have no idea. But when we start talking about all these details today, then it takes too long.
Oh, okay.
For the next time, then I want to see your bow, I want to see your quiver, and maybe you can show us this is a saddle and this saddle, and I ride without saddle and without stirrups. Because for you, it's of course daily business. But for a non-rider, I was maybe on a horse when I was small in one of these circus rounds. That's all. Is my whole experience with horses. So it's for one who has no idea. It's maybe interesting.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I
But it's
like
a little bit like skiing.
I don't know. I don't ski.
Okay.
In
Petra,
Malta,
I
we don't
like
have that
to-
much snow. You know, it's a problem.
water skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Petra, I like to make a statement to this. That's of course wonderful if you shoot 100 meters, of
Mhm.
course, but we discussed in the past about long range shooting in
Yeah.
warfare, you know,
Okay.
and you more you bigger the range is, the more far you're away from your enemy, he sees the incoming arrows. So he just has to raise his shield and nothing will happen, you know. And that's the one thing. And the other thing is, because you say this trick shooter shooting fast, same here. I don't believe that fast shooting ever in warfare was a thing, because you run out of ammunition very slow, very in a short time. So you have no more arrows. So
But-
that's
but-
stupid.
Yeah. But there is a curtain in England. There was a big battlefield, and on this old curtain you can see somebody European who hold more than 2 arrows in the hand. And Lars Anderson
know.
comes from this
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But imagine you are a
Yes.
warrior with a bow, and how many arrows can you carry?
In my quiver,
Yes.
I don't know, 100?
No.
No,
No.
no. Okay,
No.
20, 30.
Let's say 30. Okay.
I think this
And if you
discussion
shoot
is
very
simply,
fast, 30 arrows are
it's
gone
like with
in 2
every
minutes.
warfare and with every martial art, it depends on the application, what you are doing. So of course, sometimes you need to
You
shoot
are-
longer range. Sometimes you ride closer to your horse, but you can't predict what is happening. And
Yeah.
sometimes you ride somewhere and there are 5 people
let's
jumping out of the
say 30
forest, and you need to
arrows.
quickly take them out. Then of course you are the better warrior when you're capable of doing it. Only
Yeah.
saying, okay, I only can
Klar.
shoot whatever in this fire rate on long distance, it's fine, but then you're a warrior only for this specific application. If you're a multi-purpose warrior or a real warrior can do in every situation,
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
you are capable of
if-
shooting fast a few arrows if you have to.
And if you carry 30 arrows, like Petra says,
Yeah.
you are finished in 2 minutes. You have shot the 30 arrows, and
Yes.
then you are without an
Yeah,
arrow.
what does the time matter when you have 30 enemies and you kill 30 enemies in 2 minutes? It's better than it takes half an hour and they have the chance to kill you. So it always depends on the application.
Nobody can kill 30 enemies.
Take them out or make them at least not being capable of continue fighting. I mean, an arrow in
I
the
don't
chest
know.
makes you
I don't
breathe a
know.
little hard. So even if he's not dead, but you most probably he's not in
But
the mood to shoot.
what kind of situation is it? You're riding alone, and there are 30 enemies, and you shoot them in 2 minutes.
No,
and then they
it's
stand and wait.
whatever can
till you
happen. Peter, it's not
In the
only one
movies.
scenario which is happening all over the planet, all over the time. So as I said, you ride now with your friends through a forest, and then 5 guys jump out in front of you. And until the others behind you figure what is going on, you grab quickly some arrows and take them out because you can. So what's the problem?
Yes,
Then
no
they are there
problem
on the
with it.
floor, and then, okay, let's continue, right? It's not only always, okay, we are the archers, and now our general tells us we need to ride there, and I have
No,
my
no,
5
no,
arrows in
no,
my
no,
quiver,
no.
and then I shoot
No.
in my slow pace, whatever I want, and then I come back, and if I hit something, I'm good, and not, then it's not so good.
That's not the idea. But what I want to say is that these are extreme situations which are not warfare, battle
Why not?
sceneries.
Why not?
I don't know, because back then armies used to fight against each other, and not maybe in the woods there was an ambush. Okay,
But when you see, even in Turkish, I read this book in Turkish archery, what all tricks they had, that they have this arrow which flies half a curve to freak out the enemy at the same shoot. I mean,
in a
even
book,
they had
in a book,
psychological warfare.
in
So
a book,
You can't simply say, okay, this is a big field and there's one army, there's the other army, and now they ride against each other like we see in Hollywood movies, and then they clash and then they fight
No,
and then
no,
whatever.
no,
who
no, no,
survives.
no, 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 no. But not
You say-
everything
you
written
say
in a book
nothing
is
anymore.
true. Not everything written in a book is true.
Of course not. But it's worth experiencing it when it works and it makes sense.
To try it out, okay.
Of
yeah.
course, and when it makes
Yeah,
sense,
yeah,
and when I am now capable of like the Sanders, I grab a few arrows and can shoot 10 arrows in 10 seconds, I am
That's
happy
great.
that I can do it. If I will ever use it,
Of
I
course.
don't know. It's like with throwing knives. I can do it. If I will ever use it, I don't know. But I know I would be capable of if the situation appears. And you never know in the time.
I don't criticize practice.
Always don't follow instructions. What is Petra? You look scared.
Oh, I have only one picture
Present
now.
it.
Ah, okay. I know.
All good?
I
Petra?
don't criticize practicing this stuff, you know, but I don't think it's really connected to real combat. That was what I want to say.
Yeah, and I only say, even if I know how to throw an axe, shoot an arrow or use a spear or whatever, the more skills I have, the better warrior I am. That's quite simple for me.
Yeah.
And it's even when you
that's true.
see whatever Tai Chi or karate, when you only know now to throw your fists and your legs, but you don't know groundworks, grappling, or when you lay on, and you don't know what you do there, you might lose a fight. And I like to be prepared for every possible situation. And of course, I will first come with my 2 Glock pistols and shoot everyone down, of course, before I take my bow and arrow aside, of course. Joking. So, your future.
Okay.
Good. What can we do to support your future?
Oh,
You didn't think about this.
He's looking
No.
for Armin is looking for a woman with a
I'm not looking for anything.
with a big ranch, you know.
No. You got that wrong. I am looking for a small farmhouse where I can grow my own plants and have a few chickens.
Yeah.
Huh? And then I'm done with you. You know, I have my personal view of what this world is turning to. And
Yeah.
most probably it's better this way than the other way.
Yeah. So I will write a book.
You will write a book. That's very good. See, you have
Yeah.
a lot of
And-
experience. Write a book. Very good.
We
And
said it before.
because my friends Angelika Hörnig from Traditionell
I know her.
Bogenschießen and Volker Alles, I regularly when they have some shop on arrow market, I make a lecture normally.
Okay, cool.
And Volker came to me and say, please, Petra, we will work together and you make a book because you collect so much knowledge.
Exactly.
It would be sad.
Yeah, and then
if
it will be
this
lost,
get
you know,
lost.
then it's another lost book of
A lost
knowledge.
book.
So you need to write
Yeah.
it.
And for that, maybe would be a good support from you to make maybe some interview in it or
Of course. No
whatever.
problem. Yeah, no, I'm open for this, no worries.
Yeah.
I have no idea of horse archery, so but we will get there, no worries. Yeah, fine, it'll be my pleasure.
Yeah, and what's important for me is I met so many great martial
Okay.
art masters.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine. Fine.
for the point. Yeah,
For the
that
point. Okay.
yeah. So that the martial arts are really connected to normal life.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, this is what I want to show.
It's nothing extra what you practice once a day or once a week or something. It's your life. It's a 24/7 thing, of course, even when you sleep all the time, of course. Then it's a martial art. Or then it's an art. Otherwise, it's only whatever. Fighting, boxing, I don't know. Agreed.
It will be a nice book, I think, if you make nice chapters and you put your spirit and your knowledge in. I imagine it's a good book.
It will be
It will be a
good
good
success.
book.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it will be
Nice pictures, you know, photographs from.
good.
Yeah.
Good luck with it.
Thank
We
you.
support you as good as we can.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Last words, Peter. Today we're really almost 2 hours now.
Yeah, I
Last
am
word.
really happy. I see in Armin's face he's happy too. We are really happy to have
Oh,
you
thank
here
you.
as our guest, and it's really nice, a pleasure to talk to you, and a pleasure to learn from your knowledge and your experience from horseback and also martial arts. Great talk. I hope you enjoyed the talk too.
Of course, thank you very much. It's very great to have this open talk and
Yeah.
using this technique that makes it happen. That's
Yeah.
really great. Thank you.
And maybe we can subscribe to all our YouTube channels,
Yeah,
all across, you to mine,
course.
I to yours, and so on.
Mhm,
So we get
subscribe to
more
each
connected,
other's
and maybe,
Mm.
and yeah, maybe we can talk again. That would be really
yeah,
nice
that would be great.
Mhm.
Oh,
to show us
Please,
your
and-
very nice.
equipment and some ideas you have, and
Yeah.
we talk against it.
Mm. Yeah, but this
we
is
do.
really the only positive thing which came out for me now from this COVID shit.
Yeah,
That we
Yeah.
have now these talks and we do
Yeah.
something.
Every fool now knows Zoom.
Yeah, I was always at Zoom. We have a Zoom meeting. I thought, what the heck is it?
A
But
Zoom
yeah,
meeting.
now Zoom.
Sounds kind of piggish.
Yeah. And we managed today we didn't have any technical problems
With a
today.
Zoom meeting.
oh, we get it.
We are good,
That's
yeah.
great.
Even if we are not quite in this, computer age anymore, we are little grown-ups already.
Armin thought
I can
women
speak
are not
for
so,
Peter and
you
me.
know.
Hmm?
Armin thought women are not capable to use Zoom because it's too highly technical.
No, I
Oh.
said I said because I don't know it, and when it doesn't work, then we ask you, Peter, because you are Mr. All
Yeah.
Wisdom. So, and he has the most archery books you can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only about Western and hunting and stuff. So, but-
No,
Yeah.
no. We didn't get to the Eastern books.
Oh, you have Eastern books too. Oh,
Of course.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So thank you very
Okay.
much. You two.
Okay.
It was a pleasure.
Thank
Peter,
you very
to talk to
much.
you, that I finally kind of get to know you. Really interesting. Very interesting what you do. Next time we need to talk about this horse Aikido, because this is something
Oh,
interesting
yeah.
Yeah.
which
yeah,
we
yeah.
couldn't cover today because you have so much to tell that we didn't manage. we should have known before, Peter,
Great.
when we invite him.
Great meeting.
Joking.
Great.
Yeah, that
meeting.
would be great.
Of course.
And also thank you to our viewers. Subscribe to our
and
channels.
like and push the
Push
bell
the
button,
button
and all
and the
this.
bell
Yeah.
button, and yes, love us. Write us a comment. We won't read it.
No, we always read it,
Well, we all read it.
but
We all read
mostly we ignore them.
Yeah.
Now, last time I had someone, he made then some racist comments. I had simply to delete him.
Oops.
Doesn't. Racism is not. We try to
So because
unite archers, all of them. That was the topic of 2 podcasts ago, I think, that we try to, no matter what style or whatever you shoot, we try to connect. Yeah, you need to go. You're in a hurry now. Huh? You look so distracted.
No, I'm looking to my young dog, what he is
He
doing.
will do fine as long as he doesn't eat the fridge. It's fine. Okay, then we close for today. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And I hope
Goodbye.
you very
Thank
much.
you.
looking
Thank you,
forward to see
Petra.
you soon again. Okay. Thank you very much. Take
Yes.
good care. Ciao, ciao.
Okay, bye
Take
bye.
care. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye bye.